Introduction to Design. This is for my 8th grade classes as you begin to make more designs that you want to produce on your projects. We'll design things before we make the projects, and so they'll be split into 2 assignments. The definition of design is a plan or drawing produced to show the look or the function of a building or a garment or some other object before it's built or made. You can see that this will be useful before you jump into some projects. Here are a few things that we'll be doing in class. You'll be designing a skateboard, but before you do that, you'll want to use your sketchbook or possibly your iPad to design on Illustrator just your ideal uh, image or project that you want it to turn out. Now, it doesn't always turn out the way you want, but we're going to make the effort. Another one is a t-shirt design or a hoodie. You'll want this to look as cool and elaborate or simple as you want it to be. And by designing it first, you save yourself a lot of time when you actually go to print it, and it will need to be approved by Mr. Kimball to be printed. So a lot of times there's an approval process. Another thing we're doing is we're doing cardboard sculptures. One of them is an architectural option, much like this, where you'll want to embellish things before you get there. Maybe it's a template all ready for you, but you'll need to elaborate on what's existing. When you're designing things, I want you to remember the 4 I's of creativity. You starting with your imagination, you begin to incubate ideas and you're thinking about things you want to do. And as you do that, use your intuition. Maybe you're not being taught everything because not everything can be taught to everybody at the same time. So you're incubating ideas, you're collecting images and sources for this new invention. And as you invent it, I want you to understand a new model that we will use each time we design, and that is the Scamper model. What does it stand for? It stands for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse or rearrange. So I want to explain each of these really quick. Substitute, why would you want to substitute something in a design? Well, maybe your design use something using used objects or mass produced objects, things that are already existing, and you're going to substitute those in for things you can't afford or things that you don't have access to right now, and so you want to make something cheaply. Combining. When you combine things, it helps you be more creative and come up with original things. When I uh, assign my 7th graders a drawing to combine something living and something non living into one creature, it often comes out with these really fun, elaborate ideas. Sometimes they've been done, sometimes they've not been done, but they get done in new ways. So combining things, even objects, help us in this process. Adaptation. Adapting to new things or changes or rules or challenges that come your way is a big part of life anyway. So you're adapting your art possibly to other ideas that people give you. And again, time restraints or income restraints. And so you'll adapt it to change the needs of nature or time or challenges that you face. Modify. Modify your projects to again meet the an audience's needs, or modify it, change its look just a little bit so that it looks different from what somebody else might do. By modifying, you might be minimizing something or magnifying it. So minimizing means that maybe you would pay less attention to one part and more to another, and you really like how it's looking, so you begin to really focus on it and make people aware of it. Put to another use. Putting things to a new use will help you say ridiculous things sometimes, but also very fun. So if you're designing a house, for example, and you say, I don't want this to be a house, I want it to be a tractor or a vehicle of some sort, you begin to modify it, put wheels on it, make it transportable. By putting it to another use, you begin to see it in new ways and create new or combine new relationships. Eliminate. When you're not happy with something, you've got to ask yourself why, but sometimes elimination is a way um, to get rid of the problem for, temporarily, till if you have to do it again, fine, but eliminate the things that aren't working for you so you can focus on the things that will work and that are giving you inspiration. Reverse or rearrange. When personally, when I am drawing pictures and I'm going to produce it through printing methods, or I'm going to make a sculpture and I've designed it ahead of time, I often flip it. I'll take a picture and reverse the picture, or flip it, or look at it in a mirror, so that by looking at it differently, actually the way you're reading it, maybe you're used to seeing it from top to bottom or left to right. When you see it backwards, you often see mistakes. You often see things you could change or add. And same with you, if you need to add or change something, you can rearrange it to look differently. And if you have different parts in the design, it's much easier to do that than if you manufacture it and then change your mind. Some practical ways to design things starts with orthographic drafting. So here's an object. We don't know what it's for. There we don't know what its use is, but you could create a three-dimensional view like on the left, so that you can see three sides of it, and it might look this way in perspective. Okay, so top, front, and the right side is shown here. There's a red line there on the inner notch there in that shape. In the two-dimensional orthographic projection on the right, we can see that same red line. At the top view, it's that red dot. So that's the inside of that corner. And then the front view of that, again, you can see the left side of that notch. And then the right side. What is that? Well, that is seeing through the right side, and seeing a dashed line back there is how far back that notch goes. And so a dashed line would mean that it's hidden behind another shape. Create an orthographic drawing for your designs if it suits it. If it's not suitable, you may have to draw out all separate parts and show it from three different pictures if you want, and that'll get your point across before producing it. So again, to reiterate, we will be doing designs as an assignment one before each of these projects that you're going to do. Design how it should look to you. Get it approved, and then you're ready to manufacture. But manufacturing is expensive, and this is another reason that we do small projects, is that maybe you're going to make a chair, but before you do that, you're going to make a maquette. Sculptors often make a miniature or a scale model because it won't cost as much. And in some cases, it's impossible to build it before your design is done anyway. So here it's free to do a drawing. It's not going to cost you anything except for a little time. And then when you make a scale model, it might cost you, $20 or $100 to do something. but you're able to do it so that it won't break the bank. In bigger projects, like designing a tower or a livable space, there's lots of money involved, but it doesn't cost anything for you to design it on a computer and and try it out so that you can present it to others, or make a maquette. And then you're not out $5 million when you decide to build the actual thing. So here you see the prototype for this $5 million apartment building, or possibly more. You will want to pay attention to Scamper and your design, and your we will be making maquettes or scale models in class in an affordable way. If sometime you want to make it bigger and you have bigger plans, you can do that at home sometime, when you've got more time outside of class.